Hello everyone. I wanted to get into this news video that I saw where three individuals were an alleged, target of a hate crime, and how certain events like this are more than likely gonna become more normalized as things go on. So without further ado, I'm going to play the news clip.
Well, the man accused of shooting three college students of Palestinian descent in Burlington, Vermont, has pleaded not guilty to attempted murder. 48-year-old Jason Eaton could also face hate crime charges. And now Errol Barnett has been tracking this investigation for us. Errol, you hear that they survived this horrible crime and you're relieved, but now they have to live with the injuries.
It's a great point. I mean, they will forever be changed by this. That's the very sobering news. Yeah. Positively, though, the young men have been helping each other in the ICU recover from their wounds. I'll have more on that in just a moment. But certainly, their lives are forever shifted. In fact, one of them was shot twice and sustained a serious spinal injury.
This horrific, unprovoked attack was a tragic violation of the values and character of this welcoming, inclusive community.
Burlington's mayor joined state and federal officials Monday in condemning Saturday's shooting.
Although we do not yet have evidence to support a hate crime enhancement, I do want to be clear that there is no question this was a hateful act.
The suspect appeared in court by video for the first time.
Are you Jason Eaton?
Yes. Facing 3 counts of attempted second-degree murder and being denied bail. Police say 20-year-olds Tahsin Ahmed, Kanan Abdal Hamid and Hisham Awatani were walking down the street speaking a mixture of English and Arabic when the suspect stepped off his porch and fired 4 shots, striking all 3 students. On Sunday, ATF agents stumbled upon the suspect as they knocked on doors at the scene of the shooting. According to an affidavit, he told the officers, quote, "I've been waiting for you." Police found a .380 semi-automatic pistol and a loaded magazine in his apartment.
ATF tests have since connected that firearm to the casings that were recovered at the scene of the shooting.
Well, it's been an agonizing last couple of days.
Rich Price is the uncle of Hisham Awatani, who was shot twice and sustained a spinal injury.
We figured it'd be good for him to be here. It would be safer for him to be in America.
Radi Tamimi's nephew, Kanan Abdal Hamid, grew up in the West Bank.
We feel shame and betrayal almost in the sense that we sent him here and something so tragic occurred.
Now, in a statement, President Biden sent his condolences to the families and is offering federal support for the ongoing investigation. For now, though, Anne-Marie, the suspect is being held without bail, and that's pending his next hearing. But of course, he faces quite serious charges here.
Yeah, he does. And, I saw the press conference or briefing that police had, and they said, listen, this is certainly a hateful act, but can it be designated a hate crime? I'm paraphrasing. Yeah. Not yet. So I'm wondering how the family feels about that.
Well, obviously, they feel as if it is a hate crime. And I was there in that press conference just yesterday in Burlington, Vermont, asking the mayor, asking the police chief, well, what does it take to get to a hate crime? There needs to be specific impetus, a specific thing he said, a specific evidence that he targeted this group. We all know they were wearing the traditional kind of Arab scarf. We know they were speaking Arabic, but it's just not enough. The prosecutor says we do have enough evidence to charge this guy with what could be 3 life sentences. But I spoke with the uncles of 2 of the young men, and the family's coming together. They've got more people traveling to Vermont today. And here's what he said about what Palestinians in the country and around the world are going through.
To be Palestinian in this world requires fortitude and strength and resilience. And what I've witnessed from these young men in the last 36 hours shows me that they have those and more. And I'm confident that these 3 young men are going to go on to do great things. And, as Radi and I have talked about, portrayal of Palestinians in this country is often quite negative.
And while Rich himself is not Palestinian, he's married into the family. They're all talking about this. And in the ICU, Anne-Marie, the hospital allowed these 3 young men to be in the same room, the same suite. So they're encouraging each other. One has been discharged now. They were making jokes. They were trying to have a sense of humor. Just one anecdote I'll share with you. One of the young men, one of his parents said to him, well, you know, you're strong because of us. And he turned to them and said, well, you guys have never been shot. So despite what they've been through, despite the seriousness, they're doing everything they can to get through it. And their family hopes they can be kind of the standard of what young Palestinian men can be like.
Well, I'm sure that sense of humor is going to help them, and clearly a really robust support system.
Exactly.
And so we'll be following this case. Errol, thank you.
Good to see you.
Now, obviously, I wanted to get into this topic because this type of stuff has to do with United Nations population changes, you know, the war in that area, and how it would essentially cause migration. Not only migrations, but it would cause, you know, things such as your ethnic group or your race, your religion, etc. These type of things United Nations knew people would become more aware of as a result of population shifts that would occur as a result of United Nations transforming our world. So what I really want to break down here is that all of this is really correlating with UN, the transformations the world is going through, and how ultimately this is going to lead to a new world. And if you look at the UN website, it talks about how international migration occurs as a result of escaping conflict or persecution. And it's funny that it mentions that word persecution, considering that we know about the persecution from the Bible. And this is why we're talking about United Nations really is a blueprint for the beast. But anyways, it talks about how migration occurs for people to escape conflict, such as wars, to escape human rights violations, or to escape the effects of climate change, natural disasters, or other environmental factors. So we can see with what's going on is that United Nations is essentially preparing certain places to receive a large number of migrants due to the fact that that war is going to be happening, not only war but climate change, natural disasters, etc. Now, obviously, United Nations has to classify who is an international migrant. According to them, for statistical purposes, the UN defines an international migrant as any person who has changed his or country of residence. That includes all migrants, regardless of their legal status or the nature or motive of their movement. This means that these migrants are both legal and illegal migrants. These migrants have both malicious and positive intent, meaning that these migrants can be from China, they could be from Russia, they could be from Mexico, they could be from Brazil, they could be from anywhere in the world, to any first world country essentially. But this migration is happening worldwide. United Nations is already telling us that this migration is going to occur on a wide scale, most likely. Now, I know that many people don't understand what migration has to do with everything that's going on. They're confused about what migration has to do with the New World Order. Well, if you read about migrants in the SDGs, the United Nations website, it talks about how essentially migration is a quote-unquote positive contribution to inclusive growth, because the agenda's core principle is leave no one behind. That is directly from scripture when the mark of the beast is given to everybody, rich, poor, free, slave, small, big, whatever. The mark of the beast essentially leaves no one behind. So when United Nations wants to migrate everybody to specific areas, that's because they want to have these people within a specific place to where soon they will be easily identifiable. Because if you read further down in this paragraph, it talks about the reason they want to have everybody documented. They want to have illegal migrants legally documented as a persons is to quote unquote prevent human trafficking, which is what people have been talking about, sex trafficking, how it's all basically based on this agenda. And like I said, people don't listen, people don't pay attention, but here's United Nations talking about sex trafficking, and then they're talking about how this is about legal identity. This is about the mark of the beast, where we've been telling you the whole point of this UN Sustainable Development Goals is to have a global legal identity. This was something that was practiced by COVID. COVID was a test run for a global legal identity. So UN, one of their SDGs, 16.9, global legal identity for all, leaving no one behind, really is just another term for mark of the beast. And that is what we're trying to explain to everybody, is that migration is about making it very easy for the beast to literally mark everybody, because they won't be able to escape from what is happening.